Welcome to Accelerated Math 108, Module 9.2, Solving Linear Equations in the Form of ax plus b equal to c. So now we're going to begin to solving equations where we have more than two terms, and we will also need to divide, at the very end of the steps, we will need to divide by the coefficient. All right, so let me kind of paste this right here. I know it's kind of big. I'm going to kind of cover this up to the top. So here are the steps on how to solve linear equation that I copied from module 9.1. So gotta follow the the basic six step, identify terms, doing distribution if needed. So let's take a look. Step number one, see how many terms we have. So where the equal sign is, on the left side, there's a subtraction sign outside the parenthesis, so that's separate between two terms. 5w is one term, negative 35 is one term. So if you look on the right-hand side, I have a 0 here. So 0 means, sometimes 0 means a term, sometimes 0 means nothing is there. So for this problem, we're going to assume there's nothing on the right-hand side. So step number 3, combine like terms if needed on each side. So these two terms cannot be combined. So there's no step 3. Step number 4, let's move our terms. So before you move any terms, find the variable term. Since my variable term is positive, I'm going to let it stay. So we will move the negative 35 over to the other side. So equal sign in the middle, left side, 5w still 5w. Negative 35 come over, become positive. So now I got two terms, variable term on one side, and none of my two term has parentheses, so it must be time to divide it by the coefficient 5. So if I divide both sides by the coefficient 5, my answer, w equals 7. All right. So, and if you don't mind, I'm going to kind of slide this thing down as I go along. So if it bothers you, you can pause it so you have time to copy this down. All right, so let's identify terms real quick. Let me kind of make this a little bit smaller. There you go. Maybe put on the side right here. Good. All right, this equation on the left side, addition sign, separate between two terms. So I got negative 7y and I got positive 11. On the right-hand side of the equal sign, I have a negative 10. So this equation has three terms. So none of the three terms has parentheses. That will require me to do distribution. So there's no step 2. Step number 3, combine like terms on each side. These two terms are not like terms, so they cannot be combined. So let's move to step number 4. Before I move anything, find your variable term, which is negative 7y. That's the only variable term I got. And it's negative. So if it's negative, what I can do is move it over to this side. Because once my negative 7y come over to the right, it automatically becomes positive 7y. So like I mentioned before, I want to keep my variable term positive as much as I can. So the left side of the equal sign, I still got that 11 there. So if the variable term going to go to the right, that means negative 10 got to go back to the left side. So if I move my negative 10 over, it becomes positive 10. So step number 5, combine like term again on each side. So that would be 7y equal to 21. So now I got two terms, variable term on one side, everybody else on the other. No more like term to combine, so I can divide both sides by my coefficient 7. Therefore, my y is equal to 3. Okay, so let me try it this way. So the way I'm showing you is moving terms, negative 7y. Negative 7y plus 11 equal to negative 10. So if you know, if you remember maybe before, another math teacher show you how to solve equation, normally they will say, oh, we need to minus 11 on both sides, which is still what I'm doing. It just say it differently. 11 minus 11 kind of cancel each other out. So the left side still got negative 7y. Negative 10 minus 11 will be negative 21, because term with the same sign, we add. So once you're down to two terms, we would just divide both sides by negative 7. So negative 21 divided by negative 7, y is equal to positive 3. So I still come up with the same answer. It's just two different techniques. The technique you learned before, more so is move a term, combine, move another term, combine. The way I'm showing you is move all the terms at one time and combine everybody at one time. All right, let's try another one. So again, this one is very similar to the one before. I got three terms. None of the three terms has parentheses, so there's no distribution. All right, so these two terms on the left are not like terms, so they cannot be combined. So here I got my variable term, negative 6u. So let's do step number 4. It's negative, so what I can do is move it over to the right. So that will give me positive 6u on the right. All right, so if the u going to be on the right-hand side, that means this negative 3 got to go over to the left side. So who's on the left side? My negative 14. Now my negative 3 come over will become positive. So step number 5, combine like term again on each side. Negative 14 plus 3 will be negative 11. So since my variable term is by itself and there's no more like term to combine on either side, so I'm down to two terms. So generally, we will the last step is always divided by the coefficient 6 here. So my answer, negative 11 over 6. All right, let's try another one. So this one just a little bit more terms than the previous one. So let me kind of move this down again, slide it down. All right, so let's see. Equal sign in the middle. On the left side, I see two addition, subtraction signs outside the parenthesis. So that means I got three terms. So on the left side, 2x is one term, negative 6 is one term, positive 20 is another term. On the right side of the equal sign, I only got negative 28, so that's a term. All right, none of the four term has parentheses, so there's no distribution. Step number 3, combine like terms on each side. So on the left side, my 2x and negative 6x can be combined. So we say 2 minus 6. And that's how you key in the calculator, 2 minus 6. Which will give me a negative 4x. All right, so who else is still on the left side? My positive 20 is still on the left side, right? On the right side, I still got negative 28. So no more like term to combine, so we move to step number 4. Before you move any terms, find your variable term, okay? Negative 4x is the only variable term I got in this equation now. Since it's negative, what I can do is move it over. So if I want my x's on the right, that means everybody else need to go to the left. So negative 4x come over, become positive 4x. And if you do this enough, you begin to realize once you move over, it become plus. So that will be 20 plus 28. Because I still got 20 there. Negative 28 come over, become positive. So now this becomes 4x. Step number 5, combine like term again, equal to 48. So the last step, down to two terms, no more like term to combine. Variable term is by itself. Time to divide it by the coefficient 4. So my answer, x equals 12. Excuse me, 12. All right. So a lot of these problems are very similar. So I'm going to kind of shut my mouth for a moment, just for about a few seconds, and I'll let you give this a try. And let's see what happens, okay? Or you can pause the video either way. All right, so let's take a look. Same as the previous problem. Aha. Sorry, it's a little bit too small. All right, all right, let's see how many terms. On the right side, I can see 2 plus sign outside the parentheses, so that's separate between 3 terms here. Along with my negative 11, the whole equation has 4 terms. None of the 4 term has parentheses, so I do not need to do distribution. Step number 3, combine like terms on each side. So the right side, 4a plus 5a, or 4a and positive 5a can be combined. So that should give me 9a. And who's still here on the right side? My positive 25. All right. On the left side, I still got my negative 11. So before you do step number 4, make sure you can find your variable term. My variable term is only 9a, and this is the only one I got. It's also positive, so I'm going to let it stay here on the right side. So who do I move? The positive 25 got to hop over. So the right side, I still got 9a. The left side, negative 11, still negative 11. Positive 25 come over, becomes negative. So if you know positive 25 going to come over, become negative, what you could have done right away is after a while, you can do negative 11 minus 25. So you can actually skip over a step. Okay, you can actually skip over a line where you don't have to write them. So this is going to be 9a equal to negative 36. So down to 2 terms again. No more like term to combine. Variable term on one side. Then it's time to divide both sides by the coefficient 9. My answer, a equal negative 4. All right. So now, when students do this long enough, they begin to do this a lot quicker, do a lot of steps in their head. So ultimately, this is what I want you to see. Once you identify terms and notice there's no distribution involved, then we can quickly combine like terms. So that give me AA. And it's positive, so I'm going to make my variable term stay on this side. So at the same time, I can move my positive 30 over. Once a positive 30 move over, it becomes negative. That means my negative 2 was there already there. Now we'll minus the 30 once it come over. So that's negative 32. See how quick that is? You can move terms and combine terms all in your head. So now you divide both sides by the coefficient 8. My answer, x equals negative 4. All right. All right, when it comes to dealing with decimal equations, there are 2 different techniques again. We can either work with the decimals or I can clear the decimals. So when it comes to clearing the decimals, the idea is to make sure all your terms or coefficient is going to be whole numbers, okay? Integer based. So since all the terms only have 1 decimal place, what I can do is multiply every term by 10 by simply moving the decimal to the right 1 place. That means my equation will look something like 45 plus 49y minus 52y equal to negative 21. Then we can go from here. Now, this is a very powerful technique if I cannot use a calculator. So since I'm able to use calculator, I'm just going to work with the decimal, put in my calculator. So now I got 4 terms. Positive 4.9y and negative 5.2y can be combined. So I'm going to combine them. I'm just going to simply type 4.9 minus 5.2. That gives me negative 0.3y. Now, I still got my positive 4.5 on the left side. I still got my negative 2.1 on the right. So since my variable term, the only variable term I got is negative 0.3y, I'm going to move it to the right side to make it positive. So the negative 2.1 got to go over. So that will give me negative 0.3y come to the right side, become positive 0.3y. The right side still consists of 4.5. Now I pick up my negative 2.1 and move it to the left side. That 2.1 now become positive. All right, so let's quickly combine the left side here. 4.5 plus 2.1 should be 6.6. So now down to two terms. No more like term to combine. Variable term on one side. It must be time to divide it by the coefficient. All right, so my y equal, I'm going to put this in the calculator just to be sure. 6.6 divided by 0.3. Don't guess, make sure. 22 is my answer. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so the reason why I'm not focusing much on how to clear the decimal because when we're dealing with decimal type of equations, more likely is dealing with word problems. So when we get into the module or the sections that need to deal with decimal equations, we are there to learn about how to do the word problems. So showing you how to use a calculator is just a lot more convenient and easier when we head into other sections in Module 9. So why did I show you how to clear the fraction before? Because clearing the fraction, that technique will be used again in a different module. In module, if I remember correctly, it will be module 14. Module 14. We will do a lot of clearing the fraction. All right, so let me just refresh your memory on this, okay? So for this particular problem, I'm going to show you how to deal with the fractions because this is not a very complicated equation. And I'm going to show you how to clear the fraction with this longer one down here. All right, so real quick, three terms. None of the three terms has parentheses. So there's no distribution. Step number, let me bring it back down here. Step number 3, there's actually no like term to combine on the left side. So let's do step number 4. Before you move anything, find your variable term. This is the only one I got, and it's positive. So let it stay. That means we're going to move negative 4 over 3 to the right side of the equal sign. So left side still got 11 over 6y. Right side, 11 over 3. Negative 4/3 come over, become positive. So I'm going to put this in the calculator. Most of y'all can kind of see the LCD is already the same. This is 15 over 3, which is 5. But I'm going to still do it in the calculator. So parenthesis 11 over 3, close it, plus open parenthesis 4 divided by 3. All right, go ahead and convert to a fraction because I don't want to deal with a lot of repeating decimal if I run into it. All right, so that's a 5. So now what I'm supposed to do, is divide both sides by the coefficient. So 5 is already there. So we key in 5 first. Now the left side, 11 over 6 divided by 11 over 6, give me positive 1y. So this is 5 divided by 11 over 6. When you do this in the calculator, please just key it in. Okay, don't think too much into it. If you want to learn how to do this by hand, then you think about times the reciprocal, right? Division of a fraction means times the reciprocal. Oh, I'm about to times the reciprocal here. So 5 divided by 11 over 6. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and convert to a fraction. My answer, 30 over 11. All right, that's working with the fraction. Same thing for the next one. Working with the fraction. So these two problems are just alike. No parentheses on any one of the three terms. All right, let's take a look. No like term to combine on each side. So find your variable term. 2 over 3n. This is the only variable term I got. It's positive. I'm going to let it stay there. So that means I need to move my negative a over 27 over. So on the right side, 2 over 3n. Left side, 2 over 27 still there. Negative a over 7 come over, becomes positive. So once I combine like terms in my calculator for the left side, let's see what it come out to be. Parenthesis 2 over 27 plus 8 over 27. Convert to a fraction, 10 over 27. So now to get n by itself, I will divide both sides by my coefficient 2/3. All right, let's see what it turned out to be. 10 over 27 is already there, so that's the first one I key in. 10 over 27, close parenthesis, divided by, open parenthesis, 2 over 3. Convert to a fraction. My answer, 5 over 9. All right, so remember in the lecture video 9.1, I show you something called using the idea of cross product. Cross product cannot be used for this problem initially because cross product is designed for 2 terms only. I'm started with this problem with 3 terms, so I got to combine like terms first after I move them. And then once I'm down to 2 terms, if I want to use cross product, I can. If I want to clear the fraction, I can. If I want to simply say divide both sides by the coefficient, I can also do it that way. Okay, so different technique to do the same thing. Just like, buffet line, it's all the same, it's only, it's all chicken, so just different way to cook the same chicken. All right, just a little bit different taste. Okay. All right, now, something a little bit more complicated. I'm going to show you how to do this by clearing a fraction. You can actually work with a fraction using your calculator. That's fine. I just want to refresh everybody's memory here. So in order to clear the fraction, we got to multiply every term by the LCD. So what do you think the LCD is between 6, 2, 18, and 9? Give me one number 6 can go into, 2 can into, 18 can go into, 9 can go into. And if you are quick with your multiplication table, you know that answer is 18, which is correct. So I'm going to multiply every term by 18, okay? So when we say times by 18, that 18 is automatically on the numerator. So that 18 on the numerator is going to cancel out with my denominator. So that's what that means by clearing the fraction, because all my denominator is going to become 1. 6 and 18 reduce into 1 and 3. So 3 times 13y give me 39y. No more denominator because it got canceled out. Second term, minus. All right. 2 and 18 reduce into 1 and 9. So 9 times 5y, 45y. Plus, top 18, bottom 18 canceled out. Only thing left is my positive 13. Equal my fourth term times by the LCD 18. Top 18, bottom 9 reduce into 1 and 2. Don't forget, this is 7 times 2. So after a while, people can just do this just by looking at it. They can actually reduce top and bottom and multiply quickly. So that gives me 14. So I still got 4 terms. None of my 4 terms has parentheses. So we can just go ahead and combine like term on each side. Let me move this down a little bit. Okay. And then we can move terms. 39 minus 45. I don't know. 39 minus 45. That's negative 6y. So now this is negative 6y. Left side still got positive 13 equals to 14. So since my variable term, the only variable term I got in this equation now is negative 6y. Since it's negative, I can move it over. Automatically make it positive on the right. So at the same time, I'm going to pick up my 14 and move over to the left side. So that becomes 13 minus 14, which is negative 1. So divide both sides by coefficient. My answer, negative 1 over 16 is the answer. All right. So this lecture video, I just want to show y'all how to solve linear equations where we got to combine like terms sometimes and move terms back and forth and divide it by coefficient. That will conclude this lecture video. Thank you for watching.